to the mothers, the fathers, the sisters, the brothers, the cousins, the nieces, the nephews, to the aunties, to the uncles, to the grandmas, to the grandpas, to the grandchildren, to the milkmen. Assalamualaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. It's your boy Muizzy Go. Part number 2. We got Sister Khadijah, Hazrat Khadijah radiallahu anhuma. I hope you enjoyed the first part of my playlist, Women in Islam. If you didn't, can you please go check out the video? Can you give a like? Can you give a comment about Hazrat Khadijah, about the knowledge that you know? Teach one, reach one. That's what it's all about. I'm not a sheikh. I'm just a regular person. You're probably looking at me laughing right now. But mashallah, we here. We going to give knowledge anyways. Because I don't live forever anyways. Mashallah. Part number 2. Sister Khadijah, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who was Khadijah? Khadijah, mashallah. Man, Khadijah was the money getter. Instead of money making Mitch, she should have been money making Khadijah. MashaAllah. I like that. Money making Khadijah. MashaAllah. She had political ties. She had influence over her tribe, in particularly the Quraysh tribe. And she had her own business in the marketplace, and she was given a nickname in the marketplace called Tahira, which means purified. MashaAllah. That was Khadijah. And she suffered in battles and in times of harshment with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she never folded. Can you imagine having all kinds of money, having political gain, and then suffering in a battle, being under siege when the Bani Hashim was under siege? Khadijah stayed with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam down to the last leaf. MashaAllah, man. Khadijah was no joke. Can you imagine that? You're complaining today about if someone doesn't pay your light bill. You complain today about a brother not paying your gas bill. You're complaining today because you can't go certain places. But Khadijah, she didn't complain. No, she didn't. She didn't complain. Ukhti. She stayed with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a bag in her hand, Khadijah, with political gain, Khadijah, with political connections, with the tribe of Quraysh, and she had her own business, and she stayed with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam down to the last leaf. And she didn't only make sacrifices. She was one of the first people who accepted Islam at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. She never doubted Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She never doubted him one time. But you like to doubt. But you like to run out the door. But you like to complain. Now Khadijah, you are nothing compared to Khadijah. Just remember that. Just remember that. That's who you follow, Khadijah. Part number 2. Her death. Sad time in Islam. Sister Khadijah has returned back to Allah. Truly to Allah we belong, and truly to Allah we will return. Allah called her back. This was a very sad time during the lifetime of our Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The woman who stayed by his side, who witnessed the Quran being revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's who we talking about. Man. After her marriage with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khadijah lived for 25 years. She died on the 11th of Ramadan. Allahu Akbar. I didn't know that. Did you? Let me repeat this again, because this is knowledge. You claim you don't know your deen, you don't know Islamic culture. Well, here it is. I'm giving it to you. After her marriage with the Holy Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khadijah lived for 25 years. She died on the 11th of Ramadan. You know when she passed away. You know when she returned to Allah in the month of Ramadan on the 11th day. MashaAllah. In the year of 10 AN, 3 years before the migration, the hijrah to Medina. MashaAllah. So we learned that Khadijah passed away 25 years after the marriage of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she died on the 11th of the month of Ramadan, which was the 10-year AN. 3 years before the migration to Medina, she was 64 years old and 6 months of age. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. May Allah have mercy on you, Khadijah. May Allah have mercy on you. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself descended to place her lady in the lateral ditch, for her internal peace. Her grave is in Hajjun and is visited by many people. I hope one day I can go there. Inshallah, if you're watching this, hey man, I need a passport, man. I need to get to the gravesite of Hazrat Khadijah radiyallahu anhuma Tahira Hindi. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. With the death of Khadijah, Islam and its missionaries entered upon the most difficult period of its life. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam called that year as the what? The year of grief. You think you're going through something? Imagine living in the year of grief. Imagine that. The Quraysh, who were reluctant to persecute the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on account of the personal influence of Khadijah. So now they want to persecute Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam because of Khadijah's influence. His influence is gone. Now they like, she's out of here. We coming after you. We're now free and reckless to do any mischief on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. During that period, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam visited Ta'if, being disappointed by the Quraysh of Mecca. Khadijah had children, mashallah. Khadijah had quite a large number of descendants, 2 sons, Hala and Hind by name, were born to her when she was in the wedlock of Abu Hala. And daughter named also Hind was born to her in the wedlock with Antique. Antique. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Her second husband. Her children born of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam were 6 in number, 2 sons who died in the early childhood and 4 daughters. Their names may be mentioned. I want to hear those names. Don't you? Qasim, after whom the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam assumed the kunyat of Abul Qasim. He died in Mecca when he had started learning how to walk. Allahu Akbar. Can you imagine losing a child just when he started to learn how to walk? Man. Free Palestine. Zainab. She was the eldest daughter of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abdullah was born during the prophethood and was surnamed Tayyib and Tahir. MashaAllah. Ruqayyah. Kalsum. Kalsum. Fatima. Zahra. All the children have differences of age, and 1 year from the first to the last. Khadijah had great love for her children, of course. Of course. Money making Khadijah. You know she had love. She had love for her children, mashallah. Money making Khadijah. Mashallah. Since she was economically well off, I told you, that's money making Khadijah. I like that, mashallah. You're going to coin that on YouTube. Watch what I tell you. Remember, I was the first one to say it. Money making Khadijah. MashaAllah. She assigned to the Salama, a slave girl, the duties to look after the children and to feed and clothe them. Among the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khadijah had some special privileges and qualities. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam never took a second wife during the lifetime of Khadijah. Who would? She stayed with him to the last leaf. Man, I would have walked around with a blindfold on. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. I'm talking about, I would be like, what? Salamualaikum. I don't see nothing. MashaAllah. 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 I'm doing lowering gaze to the extreme. Her virtues and high status. The mother of the faithful, Khadijah, Tahira, possessed such greatness and high status that it can be judged from the fact that soon after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam declared his prophetic mission, the voice of Khadijah was the first, the only and the solitary voice which supported the holy mission of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and was the second mind which got illumined with the light of Islam and monotheism. Khadijah was a sacred lady who gave up idol worship long before the declaration of the prophethood by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Once the Prophet said, "By God, I shall never worship Lat and Uzza," Khadijah hastily reported, the Lat be away. Let Uzza be away. Do not make even a mention of them. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. That's Khadijah, man. Ibn Hisham has said, she was a true minister. She was a true minister. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. and a sincere advisor of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. See that? See that? Muslim women ain't oppressed. Man, we talk about money making Khadijah. Political power, political influence. She had property, businesses on the strip, in the marketplace. Nicknamed Tahira, the purified. Stayed with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the last leaf and didn't fold. Had 6 children. MashaAllah. 6 children with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she was older than him. But she loved him. When she heard the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam come back home, back to the Bait, that means home, and told her about what he saw in the cave of Hira, he said, wrap me up, I'm scared for my life. She said, don't fear. You good. You good. She didn't call him crazy. She didn't call him a nutcase. She didn't call him a magician. Before that, she said, get Lot and Uzzah up out of here. We don't worship idols. In spite of her high social status and wealth, she personally attended to the personal needs of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and served him devoutly. She had bread, yeah, but she was still sympathetic to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She was still sympathetic for him. She still devoted her time, her effort to the Prophet, even though she had bread. Money making Khadijah. Once Angel Jibril said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khadijah is coming up with something in a vessel. Kindly convey to her the salutations from Allah and myself. Allahu Akbar. That's what Malaika Jibril said. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had very great love for Zayd bin Harisa, who lived in Mecca as a slave. Khadijah purchased his freedom and set him free for the personal service of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Khadijah was deeply loved by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who never thought of a second marriage during her lifetime. Man, that's dedication. After her sad demise, he frequently mentioned her noble qualities and sent presents and meat to her sister friends. He wanted to stay attached to Khadijah through her friends. Man, this is the Prophet we're talking about. MashaAllah. He sent them presents to the friends of Khadijah. Once Halal, sister of Khadijah, came to see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Her voice resembled the voice of Khadijah. On hearing her call, he said, must be Halal. And he made great mention of Khadijah. Aisha radiallahu anhuma was present and she felt envious of Khadijah. That's natural. That's not. We knew that was coming. She reported, "You do often mention an old lady who is no more alive, and God has already given you better wives." Whew. I didn't know that one, man. That was a cold statement. Man, subhanAllah. How you deal with that one? How do you deal with that type of statement? Hey, if you're still in the video, can you please put in the comment section Khadijah? Let's see who's listening. Did you put Khadijah in the comment section? That's how I know you got this far in the video. On this, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam corrected Aisha radiyallahu anhuma, saying, on this, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "No, never I had a better wife. Khadijah certified my mission and embraced Islam when people at large falsified my mission. She helped and supported me when I had no helper, and supporter against the pagans. I also do remember her as the mother of my children." You gotta sit down sometimes, youngin. MashaAllah. Aisha was fiery, man. Radiallahu anhuma. This the sacred lives of the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How can you not like this video?